Neil, would you please stay here? So we have an announcement from Neil Christ of Venue Labs. So, you have a mic. Yeah, I do. Unless you want to. Hey.
I don't know. Hello.
Hi everybody, I'm Neil Christ, CEO of Venue Labs. So, first of all, good morning. Before I get started, I wanted to thank the Social Local team for putting together this event. These events Venue Labs has been part of for the last 3 years, and really it's been an important part of driving the discussion around social and local platforms and mobile from an app, services, and platform perspective. Since 2008, Venue Labs has been really pioneering in the area of location-based listening, analytics, and measurement. And our company's been, today we're monitoring over 158,000 storefronts across 15 countries. And to give you an idea of scale, that's hundreds of millions of local customer interactions that we're analyzing on behalf of our brands. So as a company, we've been very, very passionate about making sure that location-based listening for brands becomes an important part and a critical part of the ecosystem of measurement and really understanding what's going on in local. In August of last year, to really put a point on that, we launched a research study that really looked at location-based stream of content. So when customers come into stores and they interact with the brand or they interact on different services, what's truly surfacing to brands? And what we found was that up to 70% or more of those interactions weren't surfacing. And they weren't surfacing to brands who were actually looking for those things. So one of the things that we termed that, first of all, we termed that the local blind spot. And really what it told us was that when you look at location-based listening, it really is a complement to the brand and social monitoring that's already going on behalf of many large brands. So in 2012, we've been focused on building out a set of integrations that we can use to really make sure that location-based listening is available to a number of applications and services and platforms. And so I'd like to announce today and share with you that one of the first recipients or the first integrations that we'll be launching is with Radian6. And, in our view, that's a big, big thing. And the reason is because location in Location Insights, up until now has really been what I consider to be sort of early adopters. So brands that we work with, they're trying to dive deeper into location. And what this integration really tells us is that it's becoming more of a mainstream need and mainstream demand. And over the coming weeks, we'll be releasing more information about how this integration is being put together and the types of customers that will be the first to utilize it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Neil. All right, our first keynote of the day. Let's go ahead and does Diane have the clicker? Okay. Diane Eisner of Waze. She's the VP of Emerging Platforms and Partnerships, and we're going to go ahead and get her started and get her a clicker. All right.
I'm mic'd already. I just don't have a clicker. All right.
It's a good clicker.
Good. They're all good clickers. Good morning. Thanks for coming out. I'm going to talk about... Wait. Hey, what do we got? Okay. The idea of being passively social is one of them. And I think that we take these terms social and what it's meant has been a lot of effort for the people who use our services. It's meant, who can I meet up with for drinks? Who can I find something new and exciting to do with? And they've been aspirational because we all wish that we had lots of time to spend figuring out what bars to go to with our new friends that we're meeting all over the place and keep track of them. But I remember somebody telling me about this essay from William Burroughs, The Discipline of D-E, do easy. And I was so inspired by this. This was years ago, and I thought, I'm never going to be able to do easy. For some reason, I work hard, I work till I sweat, and I'm not going to be able to take the easy route. I don't know what is the easy route, but it seems inefficient. But when you're building a service for your users, I think it's very important to consider, how do you make things easy for them? And so the benefit of being social on Waze is through the crowdsourced aggregation of lots and lots of information for people doing what they do already every day, which is drive to and from work or wherever they're going. And so you see people on the road, there's an incredibly important social aspect, but you don't have to do anything. The aggressive part comes with how aggressively helpful can we be for our users? How aggressively helpful can they be to one another? And people tell me all the time, I use your service. I was like, that's great. Is it helping you out? Well, I don't always know, but I know that I keep it on all the time because I'm helping out everybody else. There's a sense that when you're part of the community, that just by turning the application on, you're helping one another. And it's so gratifying that when I'm talking to our users, they're all reinforcing the same thing. And so this presentation will really touch on, I think, 3 components of this passively social, aggressively helpful location. One is the notion of intent, and then we'll talk a bit about participation, and then we'll go into what we're calling collective surplus, but where we think we're going to be able to take this in the future and why it should matter. So we've talked a lot about context this morning, and in fact, for the last year, we've been talking a lot about context because with location gives you the ability to understand context in a new way. Not just your location, but what's near you, who's near you, and those are all very important things. But it's very different than intent, which is knowing where am I now, where am I going? And it's different than the nearby kind of context, what could I be doing? But I'm doing this thing already, here's my intention. And it's not exactly local search either. I could type in a Starbucks, but whatever response I get, I may be looking at it for later, for tomorrow, just to see who's checked in there. It doesn't give you an indication of what I'm going to do now. And that's where the intent becomes very powerful. If you can find a way within all of our services to capture and respond to and find benefits around people sharing their intent, I think that we can create some amazing services. So this is just one example of how we're using it, which is you've been using the service for a while, you get in your car and you start driving. We're doing a real-time time and location analysis to be able to say, hey, are you going to work right now? That's a very simple thing, and I'm sure you all have different ways that you could implement these concepts. But just the simple fact of not having to even push a button that says, take me to work, or to type anything in, but that will automatically know that you're going to work, and not in a creepy way, in a way that only you know, because we're responding to your traces, to your intent. And there's a high probability that if it's 8:56 and I'm headed north, that I'm going to be going to work on this day as I do every other morning. And not only that, but so once you have that intent, how can you respond to it? And so we try to bring right up front the ETA as it is now, but what you can expect along your route. Where are the traffic bottlenecks going to be? Are there hazards along the route? And then we'll update that as we go. But that's just thinking through intent and how we look at it differently than context. In order to enable that kind of real-time analysis and intent, we built something that we're calling the social location stack. And in some ways, it's familiar to every person in this room, but maybe not thinking through it in the social components. So first, you've got the road data. Now, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that all of those traces we have, probably next week we'll cross 20 million drivers. And those people are using the service on average of 11 times per month for about 20 to 30 minutes a piece. So they're pretty engaged. And what we're doing with all of those traces is we're turning it into the road grid itself. If anything new happens on the road, if there's an exit where you can no longer turn, that's going to be captured on the road data itself. And then the routing engine. Now the routing engine, the entire set of algorithms is based on what's happening in real time from those other drivers as well. And then you've got the traffic reporting. Again, if you're driving, we know the speed, and we know the average speed of this road segment for this time of day previously, then we're going to be able to tell if there's traffic or not. And that's all coming from understanding where people are and where they're going. Then the hazards. You can report on incidents if you're not driving. Yes, we block your keyboard, the big sign, you cannot text while driving. And there is a hands-free version as well so that you can say report hazard, report traffic, report police, report whatever it is. And that's become very important for letting people know what's coming up ahead. Even if you have a few milliseconds to prepare for a potential hazard, that can help you pay more attention, focus on the road, and get you where you need to go. Then we built on the community tools aspects, and now it doesn't sound very interesting. You're not going to make new friends when you're on the road, but how do you filter information when there are lots and lots of people out there when there's more information? And so one way is through a notion of groups. So you can, for example, have a commute group, San Francisco to Palo Alto, and filter the information that's coming in just from that group. We have a number of people that have joined broadcast groups that are citizen traffic reporters, if you will. So here, KGO, the ABC station, is using Waze every morning from the iPad onto the big board, and they've got lots and lots of people that are contributing to their group. I think the one in LA for ABC7 has over 10,000 members. Then there's the local search. And I think a lot of us have been touching on local search for, I don't know, probably pushing a decade now. And we know that the typical path is to buy a set of data or aggregate as much as possible until you have the best database. But then what? Then how do you filter that? How do you interpret context? How do you make sure that people are getting what they want? And we fail. We usually fail as a group because those are hard problems to solve and we're not there yet as an industry. So we said, okay, the easiest way that we can filter that information is by letting people launch whatever service they're used to using for whatever the information is that they want to get. So for example, if I want to find something cool to do in a new city, I'll be able to launch Foursquare there and see who's checked in, what people are saying nearby where I am. If I'm looking for a restaurant, I'll launch Yelp. But we as the users of these products know when we want to see what. So we decided, okay, let's do easy. Let's take the simplest route, which is to bring in these services and allow people to know when they want what kind of information. Because I can't, as a service, figure out with the information I have today when you want to know when your friends are checked in or when you want to get the best price. So if we have those services coming in, it's easier. And then there's this last level that I'll get to a little bit later, which is about the deals and how do they come into play, and is there really a power from being part of this giant community? Is there a collective buying power that we can tap into to make sure that what you're already doing is going to be more efficient for you? So that's the stack. The second thing that we think about constantly is participation. What does it mean to contribute to this community? What does it feel like? And whenever you're launching a crowdsourced service, you have this big idea. And our big idea is save people 5 minutes a day, every day. But that relies on having a lot of users. So what happens to user number one, right? How do you architect experiences that take into account the evolution of this and know that if you just tried to say from day one, we're going to save you time on traffic, you'd be lying. You'd have a terrible experience and no users, so you'd never get to that point. So our simple solution, our Do Easy solution was, if you're user number one, you can't get out of traffic using Waze, but you can know that that's our goal, and you can be a builder. And so you have a blank map, and we had thousands of people that were literally driving around in build mode, driving the roads, and then they would go to the website and give those roads a name. And we don't have to do that so much anymore, but that's how we started. So when you were user number 1, you knew that you were building this community of people who are going to help each other avoid congestion and ease up traffic conditions on the road, but you put yourself in the position of builder. And that was fun enough for a number of people. And then as we evolved, we got to the play stage. And the play stage, which by the way, some places in the world are still in the play stage, which is to say that there's a road grid, but it's not necessarily navigable. We don't have real-time conditions because we don't have a lot of drivers. So how do you make that a compelling experience? What does it mean to be a member of the community when we're in this stage? Well, it means that you can get candy canes for 5 points apiece. But at the same time, you know that what you're doing is when you go get that road goodie, we call them road goodies, that you're giving us real-time information about what's happening on the road at that time. So the end goal has never changed, but how it feels to be a member of the community at those different stages has changed over time. So this we call the play phase, and that's all good fun. Then we get to a point in many places where it is actually good enough to help you avoid traffic. There are tons of people on the road. You don't have to get excited when you see one other Wazer like we used to do. It's so gratifying. Now there are Wazers on the road at all times in every major city in the US and Israel and France and Italy and Latin America, soon to be in Asia. And that's a very different feeling. So you can pretty much trust it that we'll be able to route you around traffic, or at least tell you why you're stuck in traffic if we can't do anything about it. But then you get into potential clutter, right? So we have new kinds of issues that we face now. And so the groups help. Being able to, for example, have a Waze nobility helps. There are enough members of the community now at 20 million drivers that not all users are the same. And we want to reward the people who have been with us for a long time, who continue to contribute. And so you can get your sword, your shield, all the way up to your crown. We have some mega Wazers that actually, if you ever see them on the road, they have 1 million points or more. Oh, hey, whoa. That was cool. Anyway, and people want to start sharing that information more. So how can we take this information and allow you to share it on Facebook in a way that's actually meaningful, right? So you might not care if someone ate a road goodie, which we have done that in the past, allow you to share that you ate a road goodie. Okay, nobody really cares. We learned that. But what if you could say, Diane Eisner and 6 other friends are on their way to the Giants game? That makes more sense. So how do you create those stories that make sense for people to share and actually add value to the broader community? Likewise with what we're doing with the service with the broadcasters. We're now on 11 stations every morning for the traffic reports. And not everybody has an iPhone or an Android. Still, they can now have the benefit of all that crowdsourced information. And the benefit of participation in this scenario is that your report might make it onto TV. There are rewards that the TV stations can give to members of their group. There's a whole other now level of reward for participation that we can look at. And then we get to the collective buying parts as well. And I think you'll start to see us rolling a lot of this in, which is when I'm along my route, what will be relevant for me? Now that I can save you time, now that we're actually saving you time, is there a way that we can also save you money? And again, this is that part of aggressively helpful. We're never going to rest for a second when there's an opportunity with this new level of community to give something back to it. So, benefits of participation. Looking forward, we've all heard Clay Shirky probably talk about cognitive surplus. And this is the extra time that we have since the 1940s to put toward new forms of expression, to collaborate and to show generosity and to build LOL cats, or however you say it, I don't actually know. But we're approaching a time when we're not just looking at cognitive surplus, but we're looking at real time and real money that's going to be saved. And to us, it might only be $100 a year. But if you look at the big totals, it's quite a lot. So again, we're approaching this world where, for example, Waze, but it could be your services too, Waze plus the car plus the city are all sharing tremendous amounts of information. And right now that's clunky, but in the next couple of years, we'll be embedded in the cars, and so we'll know that you're low on fuel, know that your windshield wipers are on, be able to tap into the car's cameras, and really understand how we can respond better to that new form of context and that new intent with that better information. And then likewise with the city. Wouldn't it be great that you just knew right away if there was an emergency in a city and the city sent a virtual roadblock that would not route you through that emergency? And this is a very, very exciting world that we're happy to be a part of. But if you look at our goal, right, 5 minutes a day to save you, as one individual, that's 61 hours a year, but there are these wonderful byproducts, which is that's also 463 pounds of CO2 not put into the environment. And it's $108 a year if we can save you 10 cents a gallon. Okay, that's great, and that is the individual reward. But collectively, at 20 million users, we're talking about 1.2 billion hours per year, 9.3 billion pounds of CO2, and $2.2 billion. If we can plan well for this by being part of a community, we can affect incredible change. And 1.2 billion hours, I think that somebody did the calculation yesterday, 1,700 lifetimes. By the end of the year, it will be enough to cover the cost of feeding, of eradicating malaria, the yearly cost. Big numbers. This is a video that's showing some of the real-time data passively collected in Rome, in the morning commute time. I think there's sound. And the ones bursting up are the actual reports. This is Paris, same time frame. So people are driving these entire cities multiple times every single day. And this is Tel Aviv, where the company was founded. There's really nothing that happens on the roads that we don't know about, with almost 25% of the entire population using the service. This is the level of detail and pattern recognition we hope to get to for the whole world. So really we're looking at these three things: intent, participation, collective surplus, and using that to try to create something that is passively social and aggressively helpful. The world for us is always in what is the benefit in three ways. One, as the user, as the Wazer. Two, as the community. And then three, what is the bigger world impact? Thank you. I think I have time for 3 questions. 3 minutes. I have 3 minutes. A question a minute. Anyone?
Where are the worst drivers in the world?
San Francisco? No. The worst drivers in the world, I don't have any data to support that, but I would say that the place I'm most afraid to drive is Tel Aviv. It's a level of aggressiveness I'm not yet familiar with. But. Next. I can't see well, so shout if you have a question. Okay, back there. So we have had a 2-phased kind of revenue model where at the beginning we made money through licensing data to departments of transportation and this kind of thing, mostly on the map data itself. Then we realized that that was a very small and probably dying business. And so we're making money now through an advertising platform focused on merchants that's live in Israel with about 80 advertisers. And over the summer, you'll see it roll out here more and more. But again, it's very, very much woven into the experience. But we have amazing brands, McDonald's and Avis and fuel companies. Yes? Obviously, I'm not going to be able to comment on anything strategic that we haven't said to the press yet. Anybody else? Anybody else?
How did you find your builders?
Builders? Well, that's a good question. In Israel, it started with just the friends of the developer. And the interesting thing was, he got this GPS device, and the maps were old, so he hacked it. He got a cease and desist, said you're not allowed to mess with our maps, so he created this. And so there was, I think it started with about a 500 member community, and then through just word of mouth, it kind of spread. Being at conferences like this, trying to invite people to participate. I tend to know a lot of map geeks since I've been in this space for a long time, and just inviting the help. Total ground up, organic, begging, inspiring. Okay, thank you very much.
Hello. I'm Mark Silva. I'm SVP Emerging Platforms at Anthem Worldwide. We're the digital arm of a large global brand development company. And why are we here and what are we doing here? Well, we believe that, just like the next great startups, it's just beneath the contempt of Facebook and Google. We believe that the next big idea in advertising and communication is sitting beneath the contempt of a lot of the bigger marketers and agencies, and waiting for it to be exposed by events like this and by agencies like ours. So one of the things we did this weekend was we put on a big brand hackathon. It was the first ever multi-brand hackathon where we got over 150 developers in the room specifically to work over brands. And there were a lot of challenges to get there. Some of those challenges include just the massive gap between brands and how they work, which is usually 10 miles of strategy and a mile of ideation before you start getting into brand ideas and development and execution, versus if you think about how mobile developers start, they start with a wireframe, right? So there's a massive gap, just even in approach. And we bridged that gap this weekend through this event called Big Brand Hackathon. So I want to show you a little bit about the flavor of the weekend, and then we'll actually bring out some of the presenters, and you'll be able to see what the brands got their minds blown by over 40 apps being created in the course of 48 hours. So really amazing. We had iOS, we had Android apps, we had mobile web, we had tablets, we had Windows phones apps all being cranked out. It really was what we call the geekosystem, this convergence of the agency and marketer, the technology and venture, all in the room together. So what I'd love to do without further ado is bring out one of the presentations. You actually saw some of their slides there. Roger, will you come out and join us, please? And let's go to video for a moment. So while he's setting up, we'll tee up a little bit of what the challenge was. We had what we called BDKs, brand development kits. So they're like software development kits, but they're specifically with brand assets and specific challenges from the brands. For the Home Depot, they had two brands that they were really interested in promoting. One was their Garden Club initiative, which is an amazing way to engage a portion of a very profitable segment of their audience. The other was with the Ryobi. If you're from Atlanta, it's Ryobi. We actually have the lead marketer over there from Ryobi here, and that's the power tools. And so we saw some really creative stuff coming out of the DIY class folks. For craft, we had three brands that we were working on. We had what they call their CRM database, which is really a recipe database, massive database, all tested 8 to 5 times these recipes and using a lot of their product. We had Toblerone, which, how many of you guys have eaten a Toblerone ever in your life? Wow, hands up. How many of you know about Toblerone? Is that everybody? All right. Are you there? All right, good. So Toblerone has its own particular challenges. We had Ritz, which has a brand promise of open for fun, and the CRM. So 3 brands for craft. What we were really amazed by was there were 40 apps created. They split almost perfectly down the middle, half for the Home Depot and half for craft. And so Raja, why don't you take it away?
All right. Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay. My name is Raja. I'm from VMware. I'm a developer advocate for Cloud Foundry, which is a platform as a service. I attend all these hackathons and conferences all the time. So over the weekend, the challenge from Craft, especially Toblerone, was many of us, almost all of us, have no Toblerone brand. But then, how many of you guys have actually bought a Toblerone chocolate in the last year? Recently? Very few people. So, although many of us know Toblerone and its iconic shape, very few people actually have gone and then bought it. So, the challenge was how do you make people actually remember and then go and then buy Toblerone chocolates in the real world. So I built this really simple app. It doesn't really do much things. So what it does is it's called Find Toblerone Triangles in real world. So all it does is it shows you a real world photo like this. So this is a birthday photo, and people can basically recognize a triangle in the real world and then upload it to Facebook or something. So I'm going to keep showing you how the game works. So this is an iPad app with, but there is a triangle right here, so people can figure out a triangle in its smart cover and then upload that thing. So this thing is a yoga thing, which not many people really recognize a triangle here. There's actually a triangle right here. So they can upload this thing. So the whole idea is kind of to think outside the box and create something that might go viral and also make people remember this product and associate it with their real world. So I'm going to just skip through a couple of them. So this is pizza. You generally probably don't see a Toblerone over there, but you can imagine that eventually there will be a stream of these photos where people are uploading these various pictures and associating Toblerone in that picture. So this one is a little bit of an advanced level, what I would like to call. So there is no apparent triangle here, but you can see in the right-hand corner there is a Bermuda. So this one is a Bermuda triangle. So, so the idea is to kind of get people to be very creative and think outside the box and make the product go viral, and hence generate revenue. That's about it. Thank you. And I would also like to thank the people the big brand guys who sponsored yesterday's hackathon, which is fantastic. I also encourage everybody to go and do a lot more hackathons and hack a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, and Raja, I want to formally to present you with the virtual version of your check that you won. It was a good weekend's worth of work. Well done.
Thank you.
Jeremy, why don't you and team come on out? Thanks. So while we're doing the transition, your challenge was with craft as well. Okay, good. So the prizing went $8,000 for the grand prize and $3,000 for the second prize for the runner-up. And let's go to video. You guys about ready? All right, yeah, we want to, there we go. Excellent.
Mike? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Hey everybody, so we're DARE. I'm Jeremy, this is Xiao, and this is Justin. And we're going to talk to you about what DARE and how to do great things is. For the next slide. So, what is DARE? So, when we think about DARE, and when we were at this hackathon, we wanted to, both Home Depot and Kraft were looking for a way to both engage existing customers and get new customers into the door. So we kind of cheated and went after both of them. We won the Kraft first prize, but we were trying to find a way to not just solve for one, but think of a new app that could bring in a bunch of different brands, and then by doing that, bring in a bunch of new consumers and existing consumers who are fans of those brands. And DARE it's a challenge and rewards platform where brands can actually send out challenges to users and complete them to earn points, and users can redeem those points for discounts, charitable donations, exclusive content. So we gave the example last night of Kraft. Maybe you redeem 1,000 points by completing a challenge, and you get exclusive rights to the coolest recipes that Kraft has to offer. And you know, when we'll get into the clip in a second, but we found that people actually want to complete these challenges with their friends. So it's exposing not only the person who has a relationship with Kraft, but also their friends. So it's great for everybody. We'll actually get into the demo right now. These are cheesy slides. Sorry. So this is DARE, and as I said, it's a challenge platform. And this is once you get into the home screen. So this is kind of your news feed of challenges, and you can see Ritz has actually put a challenge up there called "Putting on the Ritz." It's a timed challenge. You have 30 seconds to stack as many Ritz as you can, and you actually have to prove that with your mobile phone, snapping a picture and uploading it to us, where the community can actually vote and decide how many points that challenge is actually worth. So we can go through a couple more challenges here. We did one for Home Depot, and these are actually user-generated challenges, which is also a unique part of our platform where end users can actually create challenges and submit them to the brand and decide how many points they're worth. So this is the ultimate mowdown. People actually shave in different shapes into their lawn, take pictures, and redeem it for points. Yeah, so you get the gist. And I think one thing that we're kind of differentiated on is the charitable donations piece. So we have this one here, Generosity Ahoy. It's just donating a pack of Chips Ahoy to someone that looks hungry and needs it. And then you can actually redeem those points to donate to a nonprofit of your choice. So we're going to drill down on one of these challenges. Let's do the Putting on the Ritz challenge. And you can see there's, you know, it's very social. You can follow the brand, you can share it, you can favorite the brand, so you can get in your news feed more of their challenges later on. And if you go down, you can actually see this is my first submission. I didn't do very well, but it got quite a bit of reaction from the community, a lot of thumbs up and a couple of thumbs down from some naysayers. But it's very social, getting new people exposed to Kraft or whatever brand that we end up partnering with. So let's say I'm a new user and I'm accepting this challenge. And since it's on an emulator, we can't actually capture the data, but you would actually be popped into the native camera app and be taken to, so you can prove the challenge. And we actually dared a couple of girls at a bar the other day to complete this challenge, and we documented it here just to show you how fun and social some of these challenges could be. Sorry, this was the Putting on the Ritz challenge, where it's yeah, sorry. So it's how many crackers you can stack in 30 seconds after however many beers you can drink in 10 minutes. Okay, so it's not going to load, but you can imagine how fun it is to see 3 drunk girls trying to stack crackers at a bar at 5 in the afternoon. So that's pretty much it. We think this was an awesome event, an awesome hackathon, and we're pretty excited about what we got out of it. So thank you.
It just proves to you what guys will do to pick up girls. They'll hack all weekend and say, "Show us your Ritz." So what was amazing was the brand reaction to this. As you could tell, they actually could have won either the Home Depot and the craft challenge. The craft folks actually gave them the top nod. What was fun about it was the Home Depot CMO Trish Mueller said, "Holy smokes, are you guys ad guys? You're probably as good as what our agencies are coming up with." So agency folks in the room, but be put on notice. This truly is the new creative class. So let's go to the slide. Well done, guys. $8,000 in a weekend. Good job. Thanks, guys. Really good job. So, Kyle, are you going to join us? Kyle, by the way, was on the floor, sitting on the floor back there, hacking. He has not stopped. He hasn't turned it off yet. So, Kyle and his team were runner-up winners in the Home Depot Challenge. And when you're ready to go to video, let's see what you got.
Okay, so we started thinking about tools and the tool buying process, and the first thing I want to do when I get a new drill is make something with it. And so we said, what are the sorts of things that people can make with it? So we built a website. This site is all new for Dozuki, starting this weekend. Do we need to? Okay. The Dozuki platform is one of the most popular platforms for building how-to online content. We run 2 of the largest online communities, iFixit and Make Projects. iFixit is the largest online repair manual, and Make Projects is a project library with thousands of cool DIY projects. So we said, what can we do to apply that sort of like groundswell community excitement to the Ryobi brand? So we put together some projects and built both a website and a mobile app. And I'm going to show you the website first. As soon as we get our resolution figured out. We get it? All right, you got to hit confirm or it will go back. 11 seconds to self-destruct. All right, here we go. So
there's an axiom that the more important the audience is, the higher likelihood you're going to fail.
Exactly.
We're going to have a technology, so you guys should all feel very important right now.
So we put together some pretty exciting projects. I'm going to show you, let's see. So here are, Home Depot is specifically interested in some garden projects. So this is step-by-step DIY instructions to make a cool planter in your garden. And it's not good enough to just publish the how-to. We want people to share their stories. And I'll show you the social aspects of it in a minute. Okay, so this is pretty cool, but I want to build one of these. Where can I buy the parts? We'll give you an e-commerce link right there. So this works well for someone coming from the web. They're searching for cool things to do in their garden, or maybe they're looking for a specific thing. There's tremendous SEO value from building a project library that gets people excited. Rather than capturing people that are just searching for tools, you can capture people that are searching for projects. But I'm in the retail store, I'm trying to figure out what to buy, I'm trying to figure out which tool, something that would get me to upsell me, to get me to buy a better drill, would be to allow me to see in store some of the things that I could do. So I'm going to show you our mobile app, if the resolution didn't completely wake up. All right, cool, it's working. So with mobile, I can go, and we threw together this app with how-to instructions right here in the app. So this is the iPad version. But we also put together a Windows Phone 7 version with step-by-step instructions. So you can get in and see this is exactly the shop drawing you're going to need to work with. And then this is how to build this table. Now I want to go and show you one that I thought was pretty cool, this all-purpose wooden bench. So before you get into the project, we'll show you the exact belt sanders that you need to build. I pulled this project off of iFixit, which is why it's got our logo, but we would love to spend some more time and customize this for Ryobi better. So you can see this, when you put somebody in front of instructions, all of a sudden it takes it from something intimidating where they would never consider building a bench, and it breaks it into pieces where now it's something that you can accomplish, one step at a time. Drill into details. And then at the end, it says, hey, do you want to share with your friends? And this sort of thing, because it's so image and multimedia rich, works really, really well on sites like Pinterest. Because Pinterest goes to the web version of this and pulls down some of the images, and then immediately this is something where people are looking at this and they're saying, A, gee, this is something I'd really love to do. B, this is exactly how to do it. All of a sudden this is approachable. And then, oh, by the way, you need Ryobi products in order to build something amazing. I'll show you some other projects that people have put together. And this is things that people have put, these are community projects that were contributed on one of the other Dazuki sites that we run. So this is a homemade marshmallow cannon. This is super cool. So these people get so intricate, it's ridiculous with their marshmallow cannons. And at the end of it, you have all the trappings of some pretty sophisticated, inter-neighborhood warfare. But you'll notice every single product they use to build this is a community contributed project. Every single one of those is a SKU in Home Depot system. And so we can tie this directly into their Retelligence API, and when you're in the store, we could be giving you inspiration. We could have iPads on kiosks to show you the cool projects people could do. And if they're at home, they're browsing on the web, they're looking, oh, look at this awesome marshmallow shooter. Oh, wow, I can just pre-order all the components I need from Home Depot. So the last thing I wanted to show you is the stories feature. So it's not good enough to build something. You want to tell people about it. So we made it really easy for people to share their experience. Went in and said, hey, tell us a little bit about your garden bench project. Here's a photo of my finished project. And then in the app, and I don't have time to show you, but in the app we have a map where you can see people near you and the cool projects they've built along with the local retail stores. So kind of trying to take people from inspiration to reality. In order to do that, you need to inspire them with step-by-step instructions to make it as easy as possible. I think a lot of people today are intimidated by hardware, and the easiest way to reduce that intimidation is by making them experts. I think Ryobi should be a brand that is about empowering people to do amazing things that they would have never been able to do without Ryobi's tools.
Well, thanks a lot. A big hand for Kyle. Well, I've got you up here. Let me ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
You've been to other developer weekends. What was the difference between a big brand hackathon and a developer weekend?
Well, here we were a little bit more focused on, one, I've never been so focused on brand awareness, so color correctness and fonts. And we really wanted to make sure that we carried the Ryobi brand through. We knew that we were going to want to show off some real projects. We were able to pull in some information from existing projects. But yeah, I think it was a blast, and it was really fun. Developers really like just being able to concentrate in a weekend and pick off something that seems daunting and then actually get it done.
Yeah, and I think Fred Neal, the VP of CRM over at the Home Depot, likes to call it the art of the possible. And we saw a lot of that this weekend. So with that,
by the way, this is the software we built it on top of. So there's no way we would have been able to go this fast and build an entire Ryobi site if we hadn't been using Dazuki.
You're going to have to rip this check from Kyle's hands here, from Eric's hands here. But thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
So that's the Big Brand Hackathon. We also have one more check to present to you. To present. One of the problems these days is that when you, with hackathons, is that when you put the hackathon call out there, some of the best hackers might not even be of age. So let's go to the next slide. Nevi is a high school student. She's actually interning and could not leave her internship today to come here and be with us. She takes that very seriously. But an amazing presentation, blew the brands away. I think last week there was an 8-year-old who won one of these hackathons. Watch out, the competition's getting younger, and they're heating it up, and they're doing an amazing job, amazing work there. So we had great APIs from Mashery, from Retelligence, from Telenav, Qualcomm. I know Kevin and Sheena over here, our hackathon partners, are counting us off here. YP, who are out there. Who else am I missing? Nokia, yeah, absolutely. Nokia gave away their Lumia 800 for anybody who did a viable ZAP file on the Microsoft platform, and so we saw a ton of Microsoft development. For any of those questioning whether that's going to be a viable platform, it is. It's coming fast. To our big brand sponsors, the Home Depot and Kraft Foods, very visionary of you to allow yourself to go to a scary place of innovation with great confidence. And the one thing we saw consistently from developers, what they said was, we don't get this kind of access. That was pretty much the brainchild of this anyway, was that we've been to a lot of hackathons, but the elephant in the room that was missing was the big brands. So it was really great to see when developers could actually jam with the brands what kind of magic happened. So would also like to thank Converge Labs and Blue Run Ventures and the Lucid Way / Mobile DevSync for helping us put on a great big brand hackathon. Thank you for watching some of the presentations. Hope you got inspired. Look forward to seeing you guys at more of these in the future. Thanks.
All right, everyone, it's lunchtime, so please go enjoy some great food, and we'll reconvene at 1:30. Thank you.